All right, well, that was another night done.
Yep.
And I think that it's kind of hard coming off the relay when you're always hoping for a gold to watch the men not do it.
Yep.
And then you come in and you say, okay, let's record real quick. And you're kind of like not in the most excited mood at all. And I kind of feel like tonight was just a struggle the entire time. I
Yeah.
mean, what did you see?
I mean, I definitely agree. I was not yelling at the TV like I was.
No. I stood up for one. I stood up for Bobby Fink because he was coming in pretty
Yeah,
fast.
I did Bobby Fink and but I also knew, I mean, if you've ever watched Bobby Fink race in your life, you know that like that's his MO
Right.
is he's got that last 50, that last 100, you don't know what he's going to pull.
Right.
And
No, not at all.
so I was hoping he was going to speed it up a little bit more the last, 100. I think he waited a little too long to go into that sprint mode and he probably would have gotten the gold, but
But I think he went at the same point as he normally does.
he does. That's what I mean. Like I think just at this point he should have, if he would have just gone into the turn a little bit faster, I think he
Right.
would have had the right momentum. Like I feel like he waited until after the turn to do what he normally does, and if he would have just shifted a little bit sooner and gotten a little bit more momentum, I think he would have had his hand on the wall. Because again, it was super close. I mean, he could have had that,
Okay. We'll get into that when we cover the 800. But what
Yeah.
else did you see? You were mentioning right before we got on something about finishes that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. So same thing I said last night. I am so sick and tired of the Americans not finishing races at the
Right.
Olympics that I can't watch it anymore. I just need them to be more strategic so they can hold their line the last 15 meters of each race, because that was probably the most disappointing part of today, that I watched it over and over and over again. And
What do you mean by hold the line? Let's get that.
so, you can't, yes, you can sprint into that, last 25 meters, right? But it doesn't matter if you can't get your hand on the wall first. That's
Right.
what it comes down to. I guess that's what I'm saying is it's like they're doing things they're either short stroking all of a sudden when they get to 15-meter mark. I really thought Reagan Smith did that.
Right.
And they're not grabbing water, and you're not seeing that drive that you need, to get your hand on the wall first in an Olympic race. And Australia has killed us because of
On the
that.
women's side. On the women's
On
side.
the women's side, I mean, they just are killing it. And my prime example of this is to go back and watch Tori Husk. That is the one race I was screaming at the TV, and not for the reason that you think. I was screaming at it because she was breathing to the left side of her on the last 15 meters of 100 free, and
When
even
everything's to the right.
when everything going on is to the right, how can you get your hand on the wall if you're looking the opposite side of everything that's going on? And it's something that I preach so much to my swimmers, that fine, you want to breathe to one side. It's a thing that everybody does now,
Right. And,
but
and
you
it's a
sure in
comfortable side.
heck,
It's a
right,
comfortable
but
side.
you sure and heck better be able to take a breath to the other side and it not screw you up, because you're gonna need it. I mean, it's just driving me crazy. I just
Yeah,
can't.
no, I'm with you. We're not finishing races very well.
No.
And it's not like they don't have the skill level to do it. And it's the and by no means are we bagging on them. Or by
Right.
no means are we saying they're doing a bad job.
No.
It's just that it's the little things that if they were a little bit crisper, you look
Yes.
at that Popovich from Romania, he's very
Yes.
crisp the last 15. And when you're
Yes.
very crisp the last 15 meters, it really helps you get into the wall because you're carrying that momentum into the
Right.
wall. And it's a skill. And if you go out too fast in the beginning, it's hard to hold on to it. And it's not like they don't drill this all the time. It's not like they don't
Yeah.
practice this all the time. It's just it's not happening.
Yeah.
And it can be cleaned up very quickly,
Yeah.
and it's not like they're not concentrating on it either. It's just for some reason it's not happening in the pool.
And I have a really good example that everybody needs to go and look up, because we absolutely love her. But Abby Fish last night posted this picture of the 100 breast and
Right.
said, and she literally posted what we just talked about, that Lily King was the first one to bring her head up when she finished and the other three had their heads down.
Right.
It's little things like that. That's like you have got to drive into the wall to get your hands onto that wall as best and as fast and as hard as possible. So, yeah, that's just something that's driving me nuts. But anyway, so let's talk about
The
what we
races.
watched this afternoon, the actual races,
All
before I
right.
get on a
We
tangent.
have the men's 100 freestyle. We have the men's 100 freestyle. We
Yeah.
did fine
Yep.
in
We
that.
did.
We're sixth and seventh coming in.
Yep.
That's a tough event.
It is.
Across the world, there's a lot of 100 freestylers that are really good. We knew that Jack Alexi was going to be doing really well. Giuliano did well.
Yep.
They looked really good the entire time.
Yep.
The one thing that I want you to look at that I thought was really good, and it's ironic that we just talked about the finishes, but Giuliano had a really good finish.
He did.
If he would have short stroked one more, his last stroke, he just lays it out. He's only a couple inches away from the wall. He has all his momentum behind him, and he got in there, and it was really, really good.
Yep.
Finish that's there. But again, it's only 1400ths of a second between
Right.
first,
Again,
second,
I
and
mean, this
seventh.
is going
So
to
you're
come
right
down
there.
to you better finish. If we are going to get on the podium, there
Right.
better be amazing finishes in the finals because it's going to come down to that. We know it. So, yeah, I mean, it was a good race. I think it was a good setup for finals. So hopefully we'll get somebody on the podium.
I think it's ironic that whenever we talk about short course yards or short course meters, it's always like it's all about turns and underwaters.
Yeah.
It's about starts and finishes. And then we get to the Olympic size pool and we really say the reason the Olympic size pool is so important is because you actually are judged by your swimming.
Yeah.
But yet the sport has gotten so fast, it's now back down to a start, a turn, and a finish.
Yep.
Just like
Correct.
the 50 free. It's crazy how that
Yeah.
goes because between the flags, it's marginal, the differences between the swimmers.
Right.
You know, again, like I said yesterday, there's different class of swimmers even at the Olympics, and the finalists, the top swimmers, the top four, maybe the top five, but definitely the top four, swimming wise, they're pretty much the same. Now it's coming down to who makes the smallest mistakes and who doesn't make the small mistakes.
Yep,
And it's frustrating, but it's also really amazing to watch athletes do that at the highest level.
Yeah.
All right, men's 200 butterfly.
Yeah.
Orlando didn't make it back. He came in 17th.
I know.
And he went 32 on the last 50. That was the thing that kind of got that I saw that I was absolutely amazed at.
Yeah.
Is that he went 32 seconds on the end of that. So he kind of died. He went after it.
He did.
And I'll give him credit for that. He went after it. He didn't have it on the end. He was right there. And that was the hope was to make the semifinals for him.
Right.
And the expectation was there, but we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah.
What did you think about the men's 200 butterfly?
Again, I mean, Leon did amazing. It was pretty much what I thought was going to happen. So I'm excited to again see him, you know, because he did a double today. So I'm excited to see.
That's a tough double.
It is. It's a really tough double.
Nobody's done it before.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to see how that's going to play out in finals. I mean, I think he still looks great. I think he still you can tell he's still got a lot of energy. And, you know, side note, the thing that I'm loving so much watching him is he is relaxed and he's having fun. He's behind the block. And when the whole stadium goes crazy, he smiles.
Right.
And that shows that he's like enjoying this, that he's not, you know, it's not really getting to him so much. So I really love that too, just from a swimming perspective, because so many people would be in that situation and they'd be out of their mind. And the fact that he's smiling, like, you know, this is awesome. I love that. So yeah, that's my only feedback for 2Fly.
Yeah, well, the other thing is yesterday I mentioned the 200 butterfly, that between prelims and finals, you have to get faster.
Yeah.
You know, like you come in with the time, you got to be faster at prelims. Heilman was faster at prelims. Then tonight, he went faster on the first 50 and he came back and he was about a half a second to a 3/4 of a second faster. If he continues to do that, he'll put himself in a position to vie for a medal. Now, it's going to be hard to get a medal, but I mean, even 4th or 5th would be great for him because he's building up his career. Again, how old is he? 17 years
18.
old.
Oh, he's 17. I thought he was 18 now.
Now,
He might
yeah, I
still.
mean, they kept announcing 17, so we're going to stick with that. But he's
Yep.
17, 18 years old.
Yep.
Phelps was 15, and he was fourth at the Olympics, and he had a pretty good career moving forward.
Yeah.
So it's a building year for him, but just getting to the final and vying for it is going to be really important for him.
For
What do you
sure.
think about the women's 100 backstroke?
Well, I kind of already said it. I mean, I just felt like Reagan, that last 15, she was spinning. I mean, it was like, I mean, I felt like she wasn't grabbing water, and I kept being
Right,
like, come on, like get underneath the water, because it made her not only look like she was really short, just like
right.
lengthwise, because she was just spinning. So that was a little disappointing to me. I really wish that she would have had that same ump that we saw at trials and we've seen so many times at NC2As. So, that again, that was kind of a big disappointment for me. Like I felt like, I know she's got better in her. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's a fine line between picking up the pace and spinning a little bit. And we're talking
right,
about them spinning. Like it's not like a 10-year-old just spinning over and over and over and over. It's little things, just a little bit of grabbing the water. I was
right.
impressed with Burkhoff because she
Yes.
made the correction that we mentioned yesterday, which is
Yeah.
a couple strokes earlier, closer to the 20-meter mark, she made her move.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening, especially in backstroke, is you've got to start that momentum early because sometimes it takes a couple meters to
Right.
really kick in. She wasn't at full speed then, at full sprint speed until the 15-meter mark. And at full sprint speed, that's when she started gaining. And that's where she put herself into the position that she needed for the bronze medal, which is
Yep.
really good. I mean,
Yep.
it was really solid. And then at the end, you saw McEwen get up on the lane line like the men and kind of splash a little bit. And I really think that with Reagan Smith taking a record and kind of coming into it as an underdog, there was a lot of pressure on her that she really wanted to get this back. Now, if she could have gotten the world record, I think she would have been just as, that would have just been a cherry on top. But to come in kind of feeling overlooked, kind of a little bit chip on your shoulder, I think that was just her pressure coming off. And I think
Yeah.
it was good to watch. Like, I really
Yeah.
like it when athletes can show that emotion just a little bit as they
Hmm.
come through.
Hmm. For
Oh,
sure.
800 freestyle, men's. We kind of talked about it
Um,
earlier.
yeah, so I mean, Nick Fink, his closing speed was awesome, really close race. I think walls were really good out of everybody. You know, yeah, I'm a big Nick Fink fan. I was hoping he was going to close it faster so he could have gotten his hand on the wall for the medal, but still getting a silver is we'll take it. It's a medal count. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like the reaction from the mom and sister. They were super
Yeah.
excited that I even got the silver. It wasn't the disappointment of not repeating as the gold medalist.
Yeah.
The one thing, I think there was two factors that happened. Number one, he won about the same time as he normally does. And I think that's okay because I think when you're like, I know a guy that was a marathoner, and he said, I know my body well enough that whenever I kick it in, I have 2 minutes of kick and then I'm going to collapse. And there's actually a couple of different marathons where he actually woke up in the hospital because he misjudged it and collapsed. He
Yeah.
knew where his limit was, and I think Bobby's really good at knowing where that limit is. So it's not like he sees the marking. I think he's doing it by feel. From here, I can go all the way in and not have a problem. And I
Right.
think that's where he kicked it in. And I think Whiffen had the advantage of being 2 lanes over and having somebody, the Italian, wedged right between them. I
Yeah.
don't think that Bobby Fink could see him as well and didn't know that he was that far in the lead. Because
Yeah.
remember, if you look at the angle, Bobby's behind, the Italian's in the middle, and Whiffen's up in the front. So from his point of view, Whiffen could be anywhere here. I think he saw them as more even. And so when he made his move, he did it off of the Italian. And then when he got to the top, he was like, oh no, he's a little bit farther ahead than I thought. And then he was trying to close in on that speed.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of factors that happen there, but what a great swim and what a great
It
close.
was. That was
Absolutely.
probably my most exciting race of today. So
Yes.
that was the one I liked the most for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. Women's 100 freestyle. We
Yeah.
are now seventh and eighth. We're
Yeah,
seventh going in.
again, not super excited about that. I already kind of talked about that with Tori Husk, like, and even Gretchen Walls, both of them. I was like, Gretchen took it out really fast,
Right.
but it was the same thing. It was closing speed. I mean, those girls have got to get that together for finals. Like, it's just, Yeah, and look to the other side of the people that are faster than you.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
hopefully that gets changed a little bit on the way home, that they will fix it going into finals to at least take one look, going in the 15-meter mark or something. Because you always hear swimmers say that they'll look, their peripheral vision instead of taking the breath. But just like you explained with, Bobby Fink, that's still not a full view. When you're
right.
going that fast, you're not going to see what you actually need to see to get your hand on the wall, to push you. So yeah, I just hope that improves. I think both of them swam really good races for semis. But I definitely think there needs to be way faster if we're going to medal in that.
Well,
That
coming in, the world has better sprinter 100 freestylers than we
Oh,
do.
for sure.
And
Yeah.
so the expectation is we hope to get a medal and
Yeah.
we hope to be in the final. Not hope. I think we expected to be in the final. We hope to get vie for a medal and we could have any medal that's there. I'm not sure we were really looking at gold, but
Right.
if Tori Husk has a great swim and she really comes through, she has the ability to vie for gold. I think that maybe she had an error that they can clean up, definitely. But how many times have we seen a swimmer being able to look to the other side and then just get that adrenaline and that little bit of boost that goes through it? I
Yep.
wasn't disappointed with the swims because we have a finals coming up. I
Right.
think it's a little bit Rowdy Gaines said that if you're on the out, or there was a clip there where they were talking about it wasn't Rowdy Gaines, it was the other guy, but on the outside there's a little bit wavier. Well, they have
Yep.
two lanes. They have another lane out there where the waves kind of go, so it's not
Right.
like it's hitting a wall and coming back on you.
Yeah.
There's really not that much of a disadvantage. I mean, at the last Olympics, somebody swam and won a gold medal from lane 8.
Yep.
So in the men's mile, but what you're going to find is it is going to be tougher because it's going to be harder to see, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I think that they can vie for it. I think that, fourth or fifth might be, third maybe. But if Tori Husk has a great swim, I think we're going to be there. If Walsh has a great swim, I'm not sure she has the speed to get there right now from what I've seen. But
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't count them out, but it's going to be an uphill battle on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, now we get to the 200 breaststroke. Matt
Yeah.
Fallon, Matt Fallon.
Yeah.
He's still my guy. I still like him a lot, but that was not the swim. That was more like the Olympic trials final from Tokyo than it
Yeah.
was what he swam. I mean, he had the world's best time coming in
Right.
and he was on fire and he just did not get out in the first. He came back in the last 50 very, very well, but the first 150, he did not get out there. And he
Yeah.
normally builds each 50. So he's almost ascending as he goes down.
Right.
I'll have to look at the splits to see if that we're recording this right after, so we don't have those with us. But I mean, it's like, I think that he just maybe waited a little bit too long
Yeah, for
at all.
sure.
He just didn't look good.
Again, I was just kind of I don't have
Yeah.
much to say about it. I was like, not what we were hoping for.
But
So
Thany did well.
yeah, yeah. But again, overall, like I hope I hope they find a way to build up momentum again.
Right.
I would just felt across the board today. I was not like, oh, they're racing. This is great. I
Well, I
don't know.
mean, the events that we could do really well in were not the finals. They were the semifinals. So you didn't have to be on top of your game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So maybe that turns over for next time. And
yeah,
this time, the ones that were finals, we were maybe, I mean, the 800 were strong in, right? But
right.
the other ones, maybe not. We'll have to, it turned out the way it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Here, Matheny, I think, can come in, and I think he can vie for a medal. The
Hmm.
one thing is, look at Mershawn's breaststroke. And I know that they made a big deal about how unorthodox it is.
Yeah,
But the best 200 breaststrokes have that ability to extend their arms. And when they're finishing their kicks, they accelerate.
right.
And he does that. And if you're a young breaststroker or you're a coach that teaches young breaststrokers, you've got to get that glide. You have to be in a streamline after every stroke cycle. And then it's arms, feet, and glide. And the better you can propel yourself with your feet and get into that glide, the more 200 breaststroke you are. And they still have the ability to get on top of the water and turn it over. But it's
Yeah,
maintaining that line, like we talked about earlier, maintaining that line and being able to hold speed all the way through. And Mershawn does that, and he's so powerful, it carries through.
right.
He absolutely does. So, I mean, he's definitely the favorite. The guy from China,
Yeah.
who's the world record holder, is going to be there. But I don't think that Leon's going to get beat at all. And then
Yeah.
we talked about
Right.
the 400 freestyle relay.
Yep.
We just didn't, I mean, the 800 freestyle relay.
800.
Yeah, we just didn't get out.
No, and I mean, I think the last three did a really good job with pulling up, but the first one, I just think, and
Toxic.
that's not what cost us. I just don't think we had the speed that we once had
Right.
out of 200s. So I think they did a good job. Do I think that again, closing speed was probably a factor?
Right.
Yes. But overall, again, it was just kind of like nothing I was super, super excited about. I guess I was hoping, again, that we would have been a little bit closer in the finish than what we were. So
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at all the relays that we've had so far, there's been one swimmer who's really stepped up and done extremely well.
yeah,
Right. And even this one, we had that. It was the third leg, got out, went
yeah,
really fast, caught everything up, set it up for Kieran Smith, and it's you're going against one of the best in the world. I mean, it's going to
right,
be very difficult for him to do. Held off the Australian who was charging into the 150, came back. So, I mean, I think that we just need you have one person who's doing extremely well, and you just need one more person to go with them. But every winning relay had that somewhere.
right.
They had two people that really went faster than expected because that's what it takes at the Olympic finals. And so, I mean, I think it was really good. Now, let's look toward tomorrow. Women's
Mhm.
200 breaststroke, we have Kate Douglas and Lily King first and fourth overall.
Yep.
They should make semifinals.
They should for sure. And, I'm hoping that maybe Lily King gets a little bit of redemption in there. I'm excited to see both of them, what they can actually do, how they look. Because
Right.
again, it's a different beast. You're dealing with something different than 100 breast.
Well, we
So
just talked about it. It's going to be a longer stroke. You have to be
yeah,
more patient. You're going to hold your breath a little bit. You got to hold your line a little bit more. And I
yeah,
think Lily has that, and Kate Douglas both have the ability to do that. There's
yeah,
no
for
doubt.
sure. Yep,
So we have that going on. And it's prelims are short. You have the men's 200 backstroke. So Ryan Murphy's back in as the
yep,
second seed, and Keaton Jones is the fourth seed going in. I mean, I think they should be fine. Obviously, if you're
yep,
ranked first and fourth, you should make the top 16. That's
right,
going to be fine. It's going to be interesting to watch tomorrow night
yep,
because they're going to have to do something a little bit different
right,
to make sure that they have the inside lanes because I think they're both medal contenders. And so
yep,
now it's jockeying and positioning themselves, which is going to be it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
yep. Well,
All right.
I'm really excited. I think it's,
Do you want
those
to go to
are
the 200 butterfly real quick?
what?
Women's 200 butterfly, Reagan Smith and Alexa Shackle.
Yeah. Alexis Shackles. So that's going to be exciting, obviously, as young as she is, and to get to see her, what she's going to be able to pull out from that. And, obviously our other star butterflyer that I just like watching her swim butterfly no matter what. So, but 200 fly, it's
That's a
a
bear.
killer. It's
It's
a
a bear.
killer. So, you just never know what's really going to happen. Hopefully their bodies are ready for it. And,
Yeah,
we're getting farther into this game plan. So we'll
if you're
see.
watching closely, watch the last 10 meters before the last wall. And
Yeah.
that'll tell you everything you need to know. Because if they're crisp through there, they're probably going to be good on the last 50. Yeah, it's going to struggle. Everybody struggles. Everybody's going to feel the pain. If they're not crisp right through there, if they're not carrying their speed, they're in deep trouble. But I mean,
Yeah.
we should make semifinals, and it should be a-okay. So I mean, yeah, today was a little bit feeling a little lackluster as far as the U.S. We did extremely well. We medaled. We didn't look as sharp as maybe we want to, or what the swimmers want to look.
Right.
Let's be honest with you. But we're still showing up. We're still swimming strong. We're putting ourselves in a position where we can vie for medals, and it'll be interesting to see how we do tomorrow. I think there's going to be some bounce back. I think there's going to be a lot of people going to get up, especially with the relay coming up. I think tomorrow's the women's 800 freestyle relay,
Yeah.
and so I think that that's going to make it really, really. Oh no, there's no relay tomorrow, so.
So just individuals.
So it's just all individuals. So we can just kind of carry through with that. So it should be fun, and we will talk tomorrow. Sounds good.
Yep. See you tomorrow.